I see a lot of people that are not able to do this, which just blows my mind because it is so necessary for riding fixed gear, and that is being able to get in your dang straps, especially on your non-dominant foot. And when I say getting in your straps, I don't mean like fumbling around, looking down, trying to flip the pedal over. I mean just being able to naturally, without looking, getting in the first time into your straps or into your clipless pedals every single time on both of your feet. I've seen a lot of riders that only have one foot strap because that's the only strap that they can get into. And then they just leave their pedal on their non-dominant foot, usually the left foot, just hanging loose without a strap. All you have to do is practice doing it. It's so easy. I'll even show you how to do it right now. Pardon me for a moment. I'm gonna be cut off from like the waist up. Look like a cow and chicken parent. All right, so all you gotta do is practice putting your foot in, taking it out, put it in, take it out. Do this like 100 times on each side before you go out and ride your bike. Here, I'll even do it on the non-drive side, which is my non-dominant foot. Just try to get as smooth as possible, and it could be helpful if you're having a particularly hard time getting to your straps to loosen up your straps a bit. This will decrease how secure you feel and how comfortable you feel in your straps, but it is invaluable to be able to just get in your straps every single time and just ride with full power transfer and full control of your bike every time you hop on your bike or sprint off from a red light. And pretty much every fixed gear rider that's been riding for more than a month knows how to skid because it is such an essential part of not dying when you're riding brakeless. And for probably 95+% of scenarios that you'll come across on your bike, knowing how to skid with one foot is going to be enough. But if you're descending a really steep hill or need to pull a really quick emergency stop because that Nissan Altima just pulled out in front of you, and in those emergency situations, you probably won't have enough time to wait for your dominant foot to get into the skidding position so that you can stop your bike in a timely fashion. Being able to skid with both of your legs forwards or backwards really cuts down on the distance that it takes you to stop your bike, since you can string left and right-footed skids together to stop on a dime. And just the icing on the cake, depending on your gear ratio, you could even double your skid patches. Sometimes you're going down a super steep hill that you didn't intend and you need to stop or scrub speed ASAP, but your cranks are spinning so fast and with so much force that you cannot gain control of your bike from the cranks and you can't pull a skid. And that's where foot jamming, the emergency brake, comes in. All you gotta do is stomp on your rear wheel, and a lot of times it's enough to completely stop the rear wheel from spinning, put you into a skid, and stop you relatively safely. Of course, not as safe as like brakes, I'm not going to argue that. But for brakeless riding, it is invaluable, especially if you find yourself going down a hill that may have been too steep for your skill level. I like to foot jam with my dominant foot for most of the time, not for everything, is my right leg, my right foot. And there's a couple ways to do this, where you can still be clipped into your non-dominant foot's foot retention and pull up on that while stomping down on your rear tire, or you can completely unclip and rest your non-dominant foot on the down tube, stand up on it so that you can then stand on top of your rear tire. It does come with some risks. Number one, if you are doing it way too much, you could overheat your tire and just completely pop it and blow it out. And good luck if you're in that situation. Number two, it wears down the tread really quickly. And number three, tires weren't designed for this. You could bust your tire pretty badly. After I was doing it for this video, the tire ended up with a pretty nasty wobble. This rim is totally true. It's the tire that has the wobble in it. First, you should practice foot jamming in, just say, like a flat, empty parking lot, so that once you do know how to do it, you can just put that in your back pocket emergency kit of Fixie skid maneuvers. Another advanced skill that you need to take yourself to the next level is using a VPN. Luckily, this video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. A VPN, a virtual private network, is a lot like wearing a helmet when you go out biking. It's there to protect you when you're out having fun, just in case somebody decides to be on their phone when they're driving and hit you with their car, or decides to try to steal your bank login information when you're on public Wi-Fi. Just like a helmet, a VPN protects you by covering you with a protective layer called an encryption, all while changing your computer's location. Whether I'm working at a cafe, staying in a hotel, or trying to connect to an airport's dang Wi-Fi so I could call a dang Uber, I always use a VPN to keep my private information private. And to get access to shows or movies no matter what country you're in, you can use Surfshark to change your computer's location and access content libraries around the world. Just in time for Black Friday, be sure to click the link at the top of the description and use my code ZachGallardo to get 85% off plus 3 months for free for Surfshark. That's just $1.97 per month, and Surfshark has a 30-day money-back guarantee. Number 4, being able to track stand for at least 2 minutes. When you're first learning how to track stand, it's easiest to do it on a slightly sloped surface and face upwards of the slope. Put your dominant foot forward at about the 1 o'clock position. Choose a point in your vision to just stare at, and that will help you balance. And then you will just try to teeter your bike back and forth, pushing down or pulling up on the pedals. As you sway your fixed gear forward and back, you'll learn to find the balance point, and soon it'll become second nature if you just practice it for long enough. For me, it took me about a month of just trying to track stand at red lights to get it down, but being able to track stand for 2 minutes is super important, since that is about how long a cycle of red lights takes to go. And if you can stay completely in your foot retention, you can get a big jump off at a red light once it turns green. If you want bonus points, you should be able to do at least a 2-minute track stand with either of your feet forward. My left-footed track stands suck. I am the paragon of stillness. Like this, I could do this all day with my dominant foot forward, my right foot forward, but once I put the left foot forward, everything just goes out the window. I'm like a newborn giraffe, like trying to balance and walk for the first time. But you can still get by with being very proficient at just 1 foot forward track stands. When I come to a red light, even if my dominant foot is not forward, I can just lift up the rear of my bike, swing the rear wheel backwards, and get my right foot forward and get into a track stand that way. But if you can do ambidextrous track stands, it is a lot more efficient. None of this whole skipping the wheel around business. Sometimes the most convenient line to ride your bike is up or down a curb, so it is essential to know how to curb hop. Start with riding your bike down a curb. It's a lot like just stepping down a curb. Front wheel, rear wheel, done. You just take your line and your bike's not going to fall over as long as you don't twist your handlebars in any weird directions. Going up those hard 90-degree steps can be a little trickier though. It's helpful to push down with your right foot pretty hard to help pop the front wheel up and also lift up your front wheel with your arms. So think of it as springing your entire body and your front wheel up onto the curb, and then you can just keep pedaling to ride your rear wheel up onto the hard curb. Keep in mind though that if you're running tubes, this can lead to a pinch flat if it is a particularly hard curb or if you are low on tire pressure. It's super convenient to know how to do it, and it lets you ride a whole lot more efficiently than always trying to find a ramp or a soft curb down. Just curb hop. Knowing how to wheelie your bike isn't exactly essential, but it sure is a lot of fun, which is the entire story of having a fixed gear. Wheeling a fixed gear is super hard and it's not terribly useful, and I cannot even wheelie my bike even after my 30-day experiment of practicing an hour every day. And learning how to wheelie your bike teaches you how to have the ultimate control over your bike, which is super essential for riding your fixed gear safely. With wheelies, you become intimately familiar with the balance points of your bike and how far you can push your bike from one side to another. Wheeling your bike gives you that extra chunk of confidence and control over your bike so you can take more aggressive maneuvers that you didn't think you would be able to do. Tracklocrossing is just a fancy term for riding a fixed gear bike off-road. And tracklocrossing is particularly hard because most fixed gear bikes are really not designed to go off-road. A lot of track bikes are designed to be ridden on immaculately maintained velodromes, just ride in a circle and take left turns every now and then. So taking a fixed gear and throwing it off-road is completely out of its element, but it is a whole lot of fun. First of all, just gravel riding in general, it gets you away from the traffic, and that's a whole lot of fun, just riding where there's absolutely no cars. Secondly, it gets you exploring your town that you may be intimately familiar with, and exploring sides and routes of it that you never even knew existed. And thirdly, Tracklocross, like Fixie, is wildly impractical, but a ton of fun. Every pedal stroke becomes extremely technical. You wonder whether you're going to slide out, you wonder whether your pedals or bottom bracket could clear a tiny little jump that even a 5-year-old on a mountain bike could clear. It's super sketchy. Don't get me wrong, but that's what makes it a lot of fun. And once you're confident enough and have enough control over your fixed gear to start going tracklocrossing, you may very well just fall in love with this entirely different side of fixed gear. Are there any advanced fixed gear skills that I missed that could take your riding to the next level? Let me know in the comments below and let's keep the discussion going. Fixie famous shoutouts to Mario Perez, Brandon Black, David K, Gio Dezera, Julian Corona, Ryan Witt, Scott Palangi, and Zane Kolnik for helping us make these fixed gear videos possible through their support on Patreon. And remember that life is short, but don't make it shorter, so be sure to ride your bike every day to be reasonably dangerous.